Pour yourself a cold one and listen to the best college football picks podcast going, The College Draft. Yeah, it's Daddy Soda time here on the College Draft Podcast, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know that. You can check me out on social at Ross Tucker NFL. Check us out at Ross Tucker Pod. But it was another very solid week by the true star of this show, my brother from another mother, the great Emory Hunt, at FBall Game Plan on Twitter, Football Game Plan on YouTube. I know a lot of you guys watch us on YouTube, by the way, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. And never too early to get Emory's draft guide. It's December. It's a great holiday gift to others or yourself. I got, I think, multiple emails last week from people that had already purchased Emory's draft guide, which is awesome. Footballgameplan.com/2026 draft guide. Nobody has more players in there, more prospects. It's awesome, especially if you have any interest in the lower levels, FCS, D2. I don't know anybody that knows more about those levels than Emory. It's super, super impressive. Just like his winning record for the year has been impressive. Emory is another 5-5 week. It's unbelievable. I feel like you've gone 5-5 or 6-4 every week, which is fine because you are 74-70 on the season. It's hard to do, but Emory has won more games than he's lost. We started last week with Utah. You laid the 13.5 with the Utes at Kansas. That was a tough game. They ended up winning 31-21, but they were trailing, right?
Yeah, and Kansas scored a late touchdown. Kansas actually put up a fight. And again, no one's talking about Jalen Daniels and how well he's played this year at quarterback for the Jayhawks.
You know, it's so fun. It's kind of a shame, but if the team isn't like one of the college football playoff potential teams, it's like the players for all the other teams don't even exist. You know, I mean, Penn State has Katron Allen sets the all-time school record for yards. Singleton sets the all-time record for touchdowns. These are two guys that have been there together with each other for 4 years. Now, they did stay for 4 years, whereas some of the other guys, you know, the Kijana Carters and Saquon Barkley's left after 3 because the dynamics in college football are different now. But they still did it with each other the whole time.
Yeah, and that's, Ross, that's the frustrating part about the whole thing. Me and producer Jack was talking about this before you jumped on. It was like, I'm on my old man, get off my lawn type vibe this morning because, like, I just want to get back to talking about everything, the football, you know what I'm saying? And we spend so much time talking about the same 9 teams, the same 3 storylines, and we miss all the goodness that's involved in college football, like those stories, like the Raging Cajuns, 8 straight years, one of 8 teams have gone to 8 straight bowl games in a row. It's wild now. So we could only talk about, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, or, should 7 SEC teams get in the postseason? Like, nobody does. Like, how crazy was the Yale game? And nobody cared. It's crazy.
It was unbelievable. I was so glad you posted that. We can talk about that more a little bit later, but I was so glad you posted that because I was like, when I saw the scores initially, I was like, whoa. I was not expecting the Ivy League to get taken to the woodshed like that. But then Yale mounts an unbelievable comeback. I'm still surprised, by the way, that Harvard got beat that badly. It's almost like they never recovered from that Yale game. Harvard was awesome all year. And then these last few games barely beat Penn and then lost to Yale and then hammered by Villanova. Anyway, you went with your Georgia Tech guys again, Emory, and they got it done. Not in terms of winning the game, but Georgia Tech was getting 12.5 against Georgia, so they covered. They lost 16-9. How about this one? New Mexico. You want to talk about a great story? New Mexico, they were getting 2.5 against San Diego State. They won outright. I think it was OT, right? They won outright 23-17. I got to tell you, Emory, it's a shame that they're not in the Mountain West Championship game. Like, unbelievable season for New Mexico.
Right, and Jason Eck has done a remarkable job. You saw the stands in Albuquerque, 30,000 plus, largest crowd of the season, probably in a couple of seasons for New Mexico. And man, it's just crazy to think like how great he did in year one, considering where New Mexico is located and not the level of access to high school recruits. And the JUCOs ain't what it used to be. So the fact that he did all of that in that location is phenomenal. So that, again, that should have been one of the major stories. But, you know, we're talking about Lane Kiffin watch.
It is interesting. Yeah, I'll get to my thoughts on Lane Kiffin a little bit later. Because, yeah, I got at least one thing to say, that's for sure. Arizona State, you had the over 49.5. Not even close. Arizona won 23-7. Arizona State only scored 7 points.
Yeah, they turned the ball over. It's crazy. And it was funny when the broadcast does this, because it always happens this way. When they just gave Jeff Sims credit for making a play and find a way, like, man, he's showing you he could do it. If you could just minimize the turnovers, next play, crazy cartoon fumble. And it was like, just when you thought they was about to run away with a get back in it, turnovers happened. That's why that game went under. But it was a great game nonetheless.
All right. A&M, you laid the 2.5. You like the Aggies. The Longhorns got it done. They should absolutely be in the play. They should absolutely be in. As if, like, they didn't lose 3 football games this year that counted and everything. Anyway, 27-17 Texas as A&M. That was a miss for you. You did get a hit with Texas Tech. You laid 21.5 against West Virginia. Sounded like a lot. They beat them 49-0, Emory. 49-0. That's a butt whooping.
They doubled up on the point spread. That's crazy, Ross.
All right, Miami, Pitt. You took over the 51.5. This surprised me. I mean, I'm not surprised that Miami won. I guess I'm a little surprised Miami won this convincingly, and also that Pitt only scored 7 points.
Well, really, I knew things were going to go haywire, Ross. The first play of the game, Hensel held the ball and took a sack from Ruben Bain. I was like, oh, where was the enthusiasm and the effort that we saw last week versus Georgia Tech? In this game, they went out there and just like, almost like they were afraid of the moment, and Miami took complete advantage of it.
Next up, Ohio State against Michigan. You laid the 10.5. I was skeptical. They won 27-9. I posted this, Emory, on social media. Do you realize that Ohio State had 14 guys drafted, a few other undrafted free agents, 15 guys on opening day rosters, 4 were first-round picks. They won the national championship, and they're better this year. I mean, I'm watching them. Sayin is better than Will Howard was. I mean, the receivers are ridiculous. They're definitely better on defense than they were last year. It is super impressive. Well, and honestly, all the responses when I posted Emory were, oh, money and portal and whatever. Most of these guys are homegrown. You know, most of these guys were kind of the next man up waiting in the wings. It's not like they brought in like a whole new team this offseason.
Ohio State, Georgia, and probably Alabama are and maybe Texas. I'll give Texas credit too. Last of a dying breed, Ross. Recruit high school players, develop those guys, sprinkle a few transfers, but mostly it's about development. And not a lot of programs are able to do it that way because guys want to leave. But man, it's cool to see how consistent a program can be when guys lock into the process, and that's what we're seeing at those schools that I mentioned.
Um, it's interesting. I mean, Penn State absolutely would be in that category. They just didn't have as good of a year this
Right.
year. Clemson would be in that category.
True.
It's funny. That's why Penn State and Clemson were ranked in the top five because they had all these fifth and sixth year guys that had been there forever and really good players. Isn't it weird that they both had such disappointing years with like all this returning talent from playoff teams a year ago?
That's what makes it so disappointing, and that's what aids the frustration from the fan base. Is like, man, we expected this team to be here at worst, maybe a two-loss top 10 team, but when they fell off the map like that, that's what makes it more infuriating more than anything.
You had a hit on Oregon laying the 6.5 against Washington. They beat them 26-14. You missed on Oklahoma laying the 10.5 against LSU. The Sooners won 17-13. Again, 5-5 for the week, 74-70 for the season, and now we get to our conference championship bets. Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. Emory, let's talk holiday gifts for your wife, your mom, whoever. Dude, it's all about auraframes.com using the promo code DRAFT. This thing is awesome. AURAFrames.com, promo code DRAFT. The deal is exclusive. Here's the deal. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames. Named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code DRAFT at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code DRAFT. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Emory, she will love it. Both she's will love it. auraframes.com. You can put whatever pictures and videos you want in there. During the winter is a perfect time to get gear by drinking beer. Why wouldn't you? Look at that thing that Jack has. For those of you that watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. That thing over his left shoulder is amazing. Speaking of amazing, we're not asking you to buy anything you wouldn't buy anyway. You're buying beer. Labatt in particular, because it's the most delicious light beer out there. Any store, any bar, or stadium, rewards.labattusa.com to sign up. And I love when you guys email it to me too, ross@rosstucker.com. Nothing wrong with that. Rewards.labattusa.com. Buy beer, get gear. All right, Emmy, let's start with the Sun Belt Championship. JMU and Troy. It's Friday night, and you're going to lay the points with JMU.
Still in a situation where James Madison is not getting enough respect because they're not a pre-stamped G5 program that the lazy media wants to talk about. So they have to win with style points. They have to really run it up on Troy. And the good part is they have the team to do it because this is a juggernaut JMU squad that can really pile up points. They're good on both sides of the ball. Got a head coach that's like the college version of Sean McVay and Bob Chesney. So I'm trusting the Dukes here against the Trojans. So lay the 21.5 points with JMU.
I'm trying to figure out on some level, like they lost like the second game of the year to Louisville at Louisville in a close game. That's their only loss the whole year.
Right, but people stuck on North Texas and Tulane. They like Green. They like New Orleans. Denton is a suburb of Fort Worth. So I get it. Like there's a lot, you know what I'm saying, that goes at JMU, just a solid program that just win a lot of games in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It don't have the same cachet as Dallas, Fort Worth area or New Orleans. So I get it. It requires people to watch film and actually I get it, Ross. But that's why JMU should be in it. That's why they got to blow out Troy.
Emory's laying the 21.5 with JMU. Conference USA Championship is Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. Not enough people are talking about Kennesaw State and what they've done. I mean, people don't even know where Kennesaw State is or who Kennesaw State is. They might win a conference championship at the FBS level. What do you got on that one, Emory?
Big fan of head coach Jerry Mack of Kennesaw State and what he did this year. I interviewed him when he was the head coach at North Carolina Central, as he had that program as a juggernaut going into the Celebration Bowl as a representative of the MEAC, and finally got the head coach opportunity at the FBS level. And it's great to see the quick turnaround that he did. And Kennesaw is going to be a sleeping giant. There was a dominant FCS program and in a nice little area of Georgia where they can recruit and have that high school pipeline of talent. So this game is going to be fun because I feel like Jacksonville State really can score. They have the leading rusher in the country on their squad. So I expect this one to go over the point total. We're going to be in for a high scoring affair between the Owls and the Gamecocks.
Emory's going over 58.5 for Kennesaw and Jacksonville State. Then you get to the American Conference, which, by the way, is also, I believe, on Friday night. You got 3 games on Friday night. It's North Texas, Tulane, and North Texas is laying 2.5. The total is 67.5, Emory.
This is frustrating because you got 2 of these programs that are playing great ball, playing for a conference championship, and both their head coaches are gone. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, who's going to be 1 foot in the portal, 1 foot out the portal? How locked in will folks be? I think we'll see the new guys that'll step in if these coaches that got hired are going to, coach this game. I'm not sure yet. So let's just say they won't, and the assistant coaches the game, who knows how loose they're going to be, how tight they're going to be. So that's why I like the under more than anything in this contest.
Ooh, okay. Likes the under 67.5 in this one. Tulane, North Texas. Does it feel, Emory, like the winner of this is going to the playoff?
Yes, because like I said earlier, Ross, they've rubber stamped both of these teams. Even though JMU is just, like you said, a close loss of Louisville, who beat Miami, and that was ranked for a time. So that looked like a quote unquote good loss for JMU. No one cares. They only cared about North Texas and they only cared about Tulane. So yes, whoever wins this game is probably going to get that rubber stamp in to the postseason.
All right. Then we've got the Mountain West Conference. This is disappointing to me, but I understand it. They've got 4 6-2 teams. And they didn't all play against each other. So then they go to all these like power ratings and like a composite score. The issue I have with that is those rankings are in large part based on where they were ranked before the season even started. So Boise State and UNLV were ranked way higher than San Diego State and New Mexico. And so UNLV and Boise State get to play in the Mountain West Championship game again, in large part because they were both really good last year. Well, this isn't last year. Ashton Genty's not there. Barry Odom's not there. I don't know what the answer is, Emory, but it would have been nice if San Diego State and or New Mexico could have been in this game.
You know what's funny, Ross? Like, I think this past weekend has shown people that, man, maybe smaller conferences with divisions were actually good for college football as opposed to these, expanded conferences with no divisions. And you have these 9-way tiebreakers that cause all kind of confusion, and it leads credence to the fact that, Boise's recognizable, UNLV's recognizable, forget New Mexico, forget San Diego State. This is about TV and TV product. So it's tough because you're right. New Mexico should be playing this ball game. But for the sake of this game here that's going to be played, I like the under more than anything. I think we'll see Boise's defense, which played really solid ball, to be honest, against Utah State. I know the weather conditions were what they were. And I know UNLV can score, but man, sometimes they get out of the blocks a little bit slow. I think because it's a championship game, we'll see the defenses tend to step up a little bit more so. So I like the under.
Emory going under again. It was under for the American, under 67.5. Under for Mountain West, UNLV Boise, under 57.5. As a reminder, you can always see all of Emory's bets as well as all of the even money bets at patreon.com/RTmedia on our private Slack channel. Just go ahead and become a Tuckheads member. The MAC, you've got Miami at Western Michigan. Miami's getting 2.5. Emory totals 43.5.
And they beat Western Michigan earlier, and since then, their starting quarterback, DeQuan Finn, decided to go get ready for the NFL draft and left the team. And it's like, man, they're fighting for a conference championship, and you bow out, for whatever reason. But I still like Chuck Martin. I think this is one of the more underrated coaches in college football, bar none. No matter what he has out there on his roster, Miami of Ohio plays hard. They play tough. They're a good football team, and I think because of Finn's absence, this is why they're underdogs, but I like them to go back there and double up and win against Western Michigan. So I'm taking Miami of Ohio plus the points.
All right, what about Big 12, the championship? It's BYU against Texas Tech. BYU's getting 13.5 points. Total is, 12.5 points. The total is 50.5.
I know you're going to have some adjustments when a rematch happens, but man, based on what we saw their offense look like against this Texas Tech defense, I have tremendous concern that they'll be able to find some offense the second time around. So I will lay the 12.5 points with the Red Raiders. Their defense is just that much better than BYU's offense.
Emory is laying the 12.5 with the Red Raiders from Texas Tech against BYU. SEC championship game, you've got Georgia and Bama. Georgia is laying 2.5. The total is 47.5.
I know when people have these tight games, they say, oh, it's a rivalry game. That's why you got to chalk throw everything out the window. But if Auburn could catch the football and not fumble the football, they beat Alabama probably by double digits. So when you look at Georgia's defense and how well it's starting to play, and offensively, now that they got the balance with the run game and how Gunnar Stockton is a gamer, they are a better football team than Alabama at this juncture. So I will lay these points with Georgia confidently based on what we've seen the last time these two teams played other opponents. So Georgia Tech and Auburn, Georgia looks like the better team. Georgia is the better team in my opinion, so I like them over Alabama.
Emory is taking the Georgia Bulldogs, laying the 2.5 against the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, what about the ACC championship? This is an interesting one. Duke, I don't really even understand all the tiebreakers, but Duke is in the ACC championship game against Virginia. Duke is getting 2.5 points. Totals 57.5. Emory.
Yeah, if they had only had the Atlantic and Coastal divisions again, Ross, we wouldn't have this issue. But I digress. I will lay the points with the Virginia Cavaliers. Tony Elliott has done a fantastic job with this program, quickly turning them around and had these guys on the cusp of their most wins in a season in quite some time, maybe in program history. So this is a great year for Virginia. They're balanced on both sides of the ball, and I just like them over Duke. Duke, funny enough, playing for a conference championship first year under Manny Diaz, something he never did at Miami. But hey, at the end of the day, I love Virginia here in this spot.
And then what about the Big Ten championship? Ohio State is 5.5-point favorites over Indiana.
I think this is a great line because it shows respect to Indiana. And, this is about where the point spread should be. So I do feel like Ohio State can win this one by 6 points. So I'm going to lay the 5.5 points with the Buckeyes. I know Indiana is significantly better. See what I did there? Significantly better than what they did than they were last year. But this is a tough game. And I just think Ohio State's defense will do a good job against the spread offense of Indiana. So I will lay the short number of 5.5.
More great stuff right after this. Spend a lot of time on the weekends traveling, looking at my phone, streaming live sports because that's what we do these days. And nowadays, Fox One has their own app, so you can stream your favorite live sports and be there for the biggest moments. They got all kinds of college football, including obviously big noon kickoff, NFL Sundays. They've got it. And then obviously they already had the MLB postseason, NASCAR. It's important to watch these games live. I know you can go back and watch them. Let's be honest, it's not the same. Fox One, we live for live, streaming now. It's funny because I know a lot of people, when they think about like Twisted Tea or any other refreshing hard iced tea, they think about like the summer, and I totally get that. Or spring or fall. You don't think about it as much in the winter. Why not though? I mean, it still tastes really good. It's still real brewed with a kick, 5% ABV. It tastes like real iced tea because it's made with real iced tea. Goes down smooth. There's no carbonation, which makes it easy to drink all day long. I mean, why not? Grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Get lined up for all these games that are coming up this month. Should be awesome. Big fan of Twisted Tea. I just want to say this. Keep it twisted. Emory's laying the 5.5 with Ohio State. As a reminder, go to patreon.com/RTmedia if you want to see all these bets in black and white. Save yourself some time from writing them down. You know, the only thing I'll say about the whole Lane Kiffin thing, Emory, is in 16 years as a head coach, I believe, he's won 2 Conference USA championships. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I'm not exactly sure why he's being treated. I mean, he had a first-round pick quarterback last year, and they didn't even make the college football playoff. I don't know. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I'm not sure he's worth all this. But I think because of the way he handles himself, he's like a ratings guy. So people want to talk about him, and that's part of the reason why he gets talked about so much.
And I'm with you. I feel like he's a very good coach. My whole issue is that, man, with NIL being what it is, a lot of times we've evened the playing field. Ole Miss is no different than Michigan State, which is no different than Memphis, which is no different than Arkansas, which is no different than South Florida or Rutgers. Like, you've evened out the playing field, so you can win at Ole Miss now, just like you could at a SEC school. And he's got a lot of money already, so it's not like the jump in pay is that much significant, or where you're gonna go play for at LSU. Maybe the NIL is a little bit better, but whatever. But I just feel like being where your feet are, sometimes coaches got to look around and be like, I have it pretty good here. Think about Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. You think he wished, man, I could have just stayed at Notre Dame, right? Or some of these other coaches that jump and leave and then they're out. The coach at Michigan State had a great thing going at Oregon State, goes to Michigan State, less than 2 years, he's out of there. So I just think that, my whole issue is that be where your feet are, realize that NIL has changed the landscape. You can win wherever you're at.
I'm with you on that. I do not think it made any sense for Lane Kiffin to keep coaching Ole Miss. That was asinine to me. Like, the college football playoff games aren't for a while.
Right.
He needs to recruit for LSU. Like, you can't do 2 jobs at the same time. If he really wanted to coach Ole Miss that bad, he could have stayed at Ole Miss. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to go to LSU for whatever reasons, and we'll see what happens. Check him out at FBall Game Plan. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We're at Ross Tucker Pod. Other than that, the keg is kicked. We are all tapped out.
Thanks for tuning in to College Draft. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Even Money, and Fantasy Feast, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.